Hail Satan.
Longlegs, a film by Oz Perkins distributed by Neon, is a horror film that came out this July and had people raving to see it. For me, this movie seemingly came out of nowhere, but had this legendary word-of-mouth marketing that made horror fans stir-crazy to see it. It was being called the creepiest movie of the year and one of Nicolas Cage's best performances. Now, I'm a huge horror fan as well as a Nick Cage enjoyer. Nick Cage is one of those actors I love to see in any film, as well as my main survivor in Dead by Daylight. Now, I was planning on seeing this in theaters when it released, but never found the time to, so with its official release on DVD, I had to snag a copy to see what I was missing out on. Man, do I have some feelings about this flick. Let's begin. This movie opens up on this amazing aesthetic that I can only describe as similar to the Backrooms or vintage found footage horror. The camera work and framing of the environment throughout the whole film felt like this strange liminal space that was giving me such anxiety as I watched, unknowing of the true nature of events that would unfold. We follow a little girl living in a secluded snowy house as she is greeted by a stranger that we come to know as Nick Cage's character, Longlegs. The makeup for Nick Cage is very unsettling and makes him eerie to look at, but coupled with Nick Cage's signature acting when it came to things such as his strange musical outbursts left me not feeling intimidated because I could still see the parts of him shining through what should be a mysterious character. After the opening, we jump forward many years to our main protagonist played by Micah Monroe, Special Agent Lee Harker. The movie establishes that Lee has some otherworldly psychic connection to those homicide cases she is assigned to. We see as she navigates an enigmatic case with cryptic letters and patterns of murders left by the serial killer Longlegs. The movie toys with the supernatural throughout but feels grounded enough to keep you wondering, how is Longlegs pulling off these murders? I was completely captured by this movie for the first 2 of its 3 parts. Loved how the atmosphere created this sense of dread, and the psychic connection Lee has with the case left me wanting answers. The infamous serial killer has a tendency for leaving behind copious amounts of murdered families with no sign of forced entry and a strange pattern relating to the birthdays of the victims. In each murder, there was a child, and each child had a birthday on the 14th of the month. The film begins to introduce aspects of Christianity and Satanism as characters begin speaking of prayers, the devil, and the Book of Revelation. Agent Harker and her boss would uncover a strange doll left at the scene of Longlegs' first crime. The doll made of porcelain and having a metal ball inside of its head that acted like its brain. This is when the movie goes full-on unapologetically supernatural, as the dolls would represent the child victims of each murder. As part 2 is coming to a close, Longlegs is captured by the FBI and kills himself while in holding. Nick Cage gives us a wild performance as he hails Satan and busts his skull open on the holding room's table. At this point, I was extremely curious. With the main killer dead, what was the ending of the film going to look like? With the dialogue and doll setup, I was full on expecting Nick Cage to be resurrected or for his spirit to haunt Lee Harker. This is when the movie makes its huge plot twist and reveals that Lee's own mother was helping Longlegs in these horrific murders since the start. Now, strap in for this explanation. Longlegs was a doll maker who worshipped the devil and would create life-size lookalikes of children. Lee's mom would deliver the satanic dolls to the families under the guise of a nun. The doll would possess the parents and the father would murder the family and then himself. Okay, this was definitely not what I was expecting at all going into this film, but it is just wild enough to be memorable. I have to say I really dug the visuals of this whole movie. I particularly loved how they would showcase the devil watching the family through the doll. Those red eyes seared straight into my brain. The film climaxes as Lee shows up to her boss's daughter's birthday party, where her mom has already arrived with the haunted doll. Lee's boss kills his wife before being gunned down by Lee. Lee then shoots and kills her own mom as she pulls a knife on her, and rescues the child from the Satan doll. Well, I wouldn't say rescue, as the child is clearly in a trance by this doll, and Lee doesn't end up destroying it. The movie ends with Nick Cage hailing his favorite little demon and blowing us a kiss before some upside-down credits roll. Alright, I'm very mixed on this movie. Looking at its ratings, Longlegs has a critic rating of 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, but only 60% for the audience score. This was a movie I knew absolutely nothing about and loved for more than half of its runtime. I'm still the biggest fan of its creepy atmosphere and the way it builds suspense, but something about the introduction of the devil dolls and the overplayed Satan cult Hollywood loves to inject into its horror films left me unimpressed. It's something we've seen done a million times, and to me at least, cheapens the payoff. I much would have preferred a more grounded explanation, or anything else besides Annabelle dolls and the old woman from Hereditary as the climax of the film. All in all, I would say I enjoyed my experience, but I don't think it's a movie I would rewatch. I'm really torn on this one. I wouldn't say it's the best or even the creepiest horror of 2024, but it definitely is one of the most stylish. Let me know what you all thought of Longlegs in the comments below, as well as your favorite and least favorite parts. Until the next Nick Cage horror, I hope you all have a great day.
Let me in!